Y'all know the amount of work that we put in to put together the content for this show. So I'll preview today's show. Y'all know what we're going to start with. Tesla earnings. And then we're going to have Craig Johnson on at 8:35. Wink, wink, Dennis. It's Thursday. It's Premarket Prep. Hope you bought the dip yesterday. Let's get things started.
Welcome to Benzinga's Premarket Prep.
This is a volatile puppy here.
It's all about execution styles and strategies.
All right, good morning, traders and investors. We're up nearly 30 handles, trying to get up to back to 5,900, 58.67 and a quarter, trading right off the highs of the session. The buck taking a little bit of a breather here, down 20 cents. Furious rally here over in the month of October. TLT fighting back, waiting for jobless claims here, up 61 cents, 92.68. Crude working its way towards 71, up 19 cents at 70.96. Gold up 21.30 at 27.50. Silver rebounding 40 cents at 34.24. Bitcoin rebounding up nearly $900 at 67,300. All right. Let's bring in Dennis. And folks, that's the end of the show for me here. Hey, Dennis.
You want me to talk Tesla for 30 minutes? I see what's happening here. Tesla 30-minute rant. Won't be a Tesla 30-minute rant. Give me some credit here. I'll rant for a few minutes there. Bring in AB here too. It's Tesla Thursday. What's up?
It's Tesla Thursday. It's also, we've got some other stories too, but obviously that is the biggest story of the morning. That's the biggest company that reported earnings yesterday. So let's go ahead and just give those numbers real quick. So you wouldn't know it by looking at the stock, but the sales actually missed the estimate. So sales came in at $25.18 billion, missed the $25.37 billion estimate. The EPS, though, beat 72 cents, beat the 58-cent estimate. And the stock went up initially on these numbers, popped. I think it was up about 8-9%. And then the call started and Elon Musk started talking.
Yeah.
And Dennis, I'll let you talk about that because I know you were listening more intently than I was. Just looking at the earnings, over quarter, like the revenue actually went down slightly from last quarter. I don't know if there was anything in the last quarter that was kind of special that made the revenue higher the previous quarter. But overall it is, anytime, because Tesla had been in this zone where the earnings had been kind of declining. And then actually to see it pop back up is, I think, like there was maybe a little bit of a lower bar. And so to see those earnings pop back up, I think that's what people were really looking for.
You summarized it pretty well. We had the big pop on the initial print to like 230. I think everybody was expecting the worst. Even myself, I thought, that this report wasn't going to be great. I hedged 1/3 of the position by selling the 220 calls. I'd done that a week earlier, so I was actually that would sell me out at 230.5 because I got 10.50 for them. And then, so we popped up the 18 points up to 230, and then it sat there for a while and was waiting for the call. Then Musk gets on, and in typical Musk fashion, he talked this stock up like nonstop. Everything he was saying was what the market wanted to hear. He talked about growth of 25 to 30%. That's huge if he's going to get that. Expectations were maybe 12 to 13%. So basically doubling, he's talking about doubling that. He talked about the robo-taxi, coming. He didn't give timelines. So he talked about 2 million units. He's talking just, everything that the market wanted to hear. And that's when the stock started blasting off again, 235, 236, 240. If you bring up Tesla stock, Joel, you'll see, the consolidation around 230 and then the Musk chatter, which is the next big bar up. So if you're looking at the big bar up on earnings, then he sat there for an hour. And then the next big pop was the Musk conference call. So, which popped up too. And when he said the robo-taxi thing, then Uber and Lyft start getting hit because, you're talking 2 million robo-taxis, and then Uber, goes from 79.83, it's down $2.50 here now. Lyft getting hit down 2.7%, obviously off of this. So very interesting. The one, the jury is still out. It's not like, wow, the quarter was good. The talk was incredible. But the problem with Musk is he's one of those opposite CEOs where you have so many CEOs that come out and they underpromise and overdeliver. Musk is always an overpromiser. Let's hope he doesn't underdeliver here, though, because that 25 to 30% number, the stock popped $6-7 when he started talking about that. That's a big number. I hope that they can hit that, but I don't know, man. That's a big number. But I'm happy. It's nice, It's nice. Like my long-term account's probably going to hit all-time highs today because I have a huge position in Tesla. So I'm happy about it. But at the same time, I'm still skeptical because I'm like, wow, this is a big pop really fast. And then the other consideration, because I did hedge a third of the position, so I have some written calls. Do I cover those in, to continue the party, or do I let part of the position go at 2:30? I would be out, maybe. I haven't fully decided. I have a couple days. They obviously go off the board tomorrow, so I'll decide if I'm going to roll it up or figure out what I'm going to do here on those Tesla calls.
All right. A couple things here. One, the eyeball test. I mean, just there's more out there. I mean, just flat out. There's more Tesla cars. Also, they're
for sure. They're everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, you're seeing them. They're building it actually on Orchard Lake, Dennis. They're putting in a dealership, a pretty good sized dealership. So that's a note. The other thing I'm going to say. Oh, so it's a car company now, right? It's a car. Now it's a car company. I thought it was a technology company. I don't know.
I don't understand what you mean by that, but
well, no, because everyone says it. It's not a car company. It's a technology company, right? And that it's the future technology. That's why a lot of the reason you own it is because of the robots.
Well, the FSD, everything, which he's talking about there too. I mean, robo-taxis is not cars; it's a taxi business. So
right.
I think the ship has sailed on this conversation that Tesla is just a car company. I think the ship
I was being a little facetious, but
okay,
that's
well, I didn't catch that. I don't catch that.
All right. And now it's getting a nice lift here. And I will just say I got one number for you, and it's right before it fell off the cliff. 242.79. That was your high back on the day of the event. Everyone that bought it, you're filling the gap, you're getting your money back. So right there, that was the high that day, or the day before the gap. So I'd keep an eye on that. And then there's a little congestion above it, but good report. Street's loving it. What was the expected move? Do you know, Dennis? Off the top of your head?
We calculated, I think it was $14. So you're well over the expected
well
move.
Over.
Almost double
well
the expected
over.
move.
Double
the expected move.
Yeah.
So it's a huge move. People who are right in straddles are getting hit. I mean, the stock continues to climb here too. Like the stock is climbing, dramatically here. So, again, what's the catalyst to bring it back down now? I mean, he's talked this up. Here's your analyst commentary here from today, because the analysts are scrambling because half of them are bearish out there. You got Wedbush reiterating their outperform. Wedbush has been bullish the whole time. They've had that right. Piper's reiterating they're overweight. They've been bullish. But then you got, RBC's raising their price target to 249, trying to get up to where it is right now. Price target, Canaccord raised to 278. Baird reiterates their outperform. Mizuho reiterates their neutral. Goldman Sachs raises their price target to 250 because they were lower. They're trying to get up to where it is right now. KGI Securities actually upgrades the stock, so to Tesla to outperform. Yeah, Cantor Fitzgerald, they're raising the price target. Truist is still skeptical. They said more questions than answers. Where is the beef? They are an outlier here because there's nobody else. Jefferies and Wells Fargo both are just ridiculous. Jefferies raises their price target to 195. The stock's 243. Wells Fargo raises their price target to 125.
Holy
They have a sell rating on it.
Oh,
I mean, they went from 120. So was the analyst even comment? So Colin Langan from Wells Fargo has a sell rating on the stock, underweight rating, with a 120 price target. They raised their price target to 125. So all this, and they raise it up. I mean, why even bother? Man. Why even bother? The only way it goes back to 125 is FSD fails. Like, it doesn't work and it kills us all. I mean, that's the scenario where that happens. Or Musk shoots off his mouth and nobody ever buys a Tesla again. So there's a couple scenarios where that can happen. I don't understand why the price target, but You've got, you obviously have 14 sell ratings on this stock. We've talked about this before. We asked Brentster, the old, from the news desk, we were talking to him just in saying, how often do you see 14 sell ratings on something? He covered the Benzinga Pro news desk for a decade. He's like, it's unprecedented. I've never seen it before. A company with 14 sell ratings on it. So this is how bearish the street is on this stock. There's a few bulls, when we give them Wedbush, there's a few bulls out there. Dan Ives been all over the story, and he thinks this is the most, he said it before. He said this is the most undervalued tech stock out here, underappreciated and undervalued AI play. So there is some bulls out here. I've been bullish too. I'm one of the big bulls too. But, there's a lot more people than just Gordon Johnson bearish this stock.
Yeah, I agree. All right. If you're looking for more on this, there is room. I mean, there's room up on the dailies to after that. I just the target 247.41, and then that psychological 250. Uber. It's so funny because the day it's not funny if you're long, but the day that they didn't like the robo-taxi event is the day it made its all-time high. They just got giddy here. Popped at 87. If you were waiting for a gap fill here, well, you're getting it right here, right now. 78.24 was the top of yesterday's range. Better find support right in this bar. Lift is just lift. It's getting hit. I noticed there was a current wall at $14. Is that where it was? Yeah. So first unchanged, and then looks like the sellers are stacked up at 14 in lift.
So, okay, so that's 12, well, we've been on 12 minutes, but 10 minutes on the Tesla. So we're going to move on here in a second. Just closing thoughts here. I don't see a lot of reason for this stock to just give this back. So
No,
I don't think this is going to be one of those, here's the pop and now we get the drop. The price action from the pre-market is telling you that whoever's short this stock is running scared right now. It's also telling you that people, believe, in the story here. Long term, there's a lot to be proven here. There's a lot to be proven. I believe, and that's the biggest position in my long-term portfolio. I believe that Musk, can accomplish what he says he's going to accomplish. I also believe his timelines won't hit his timelines. So, that's why I just keep, having that core long-term position, and I've been trading it to a certain extent.
You've been doing a good job.
I've been doing okay. I'm kind of disappointed that I had, written calls, obviously, now at the 220 on 1/3 of the position, because if I don't cover it, I'm going to get called away on that stock. Question is, do I get another shot to get it back under 230? Because that's where I'm equivalent selling it. I don't know. I may actually just take the loss on the hedge on this and let the whole dang thing ride. But I was overweight. I was nervous about the reports. I was like, I'm going to bring in some premium. And then, obviously, if it tanks, I can buy some more. It didn't happen. The stock's going up here. It's a nice move. Congrats, Tesla longs.
What about, so Musk was saying next year they're going to have robo-taxis on the road?
He was saying, so I forget now from the call, but I think he was talking in just the two cities. And I forget which cities he was talking about. He said 2025 in chat, you might have it here. I forget the two cities' names, but he's talking about two cities, but more rolling out like 2026. So a little ways out. But he talked about like 2 million units. Like he's talking about like huge, upscale production of the robo-taxi, which doesn't have a steering wheel, doesn't have a brake pedal, and doesn't have a gas pedal. That's kind of scary. I mean, if something goes wrong, there's nothing you could do. You're totally relying on the car.
I heard they're going to put a parachute in there, so you can
just in case it goes.
All
right.
AP, you did a good job yesterday. You just didn't move us along there. AP downgraded.
Let's move along to Boeing, which is trading lower this morning on more news about this strike.
What a disaster.
So, the machinists that work at Boeing rejected a proposed deal extending a 5-week strike. So there had been some reports that the strike was going to be resolved and that, all is going to be well at Boeing again. All the problems were going to be solved. That is not the case. Surprise, surprise, more negative headlines for Boeing here. The stock actually got down. I'm seeing to around 151 flat and did get bought back up. Now we're closer to 153. So we were down more when we, started the pre-market show. Now we're only down about $4.20, about 2.7%. But either way, if you've been trying to take a stab and buy Boeing down here, it hasn't been rewarding, at least not yet.
This stock is exhausting. I mean, it never ends. I'll just say what we already took out yesterday's low. Probably going to get a gap fill at, if we get a little pop, 53.53. But I mean, now the market, now you're praying for the market at 157.06. I don't know what else to say on this one, Triple D.
I'll say what I have to say is the negative headline flow here is always bad. They never get good news. Okay, sorry, machinists, but have you seen how much money this company is burning right now? Like, here you're getting a 35% raise in a company that is just destroying cash and burning cash. Do you value your jobs? Because that's a pretty good proposal from the company that is under so much financial stress. Bleeding money. And they're finding somehow to get you guys 35% raise and you reject it? I mean, value your jobs a little bit more here. I'm sorry, but this is not a company that is killing it. This is not a company that's making so much money they don't know what to do with it. This is a company that is burning cash, man. Burning a lot of cash. Stuff like this is why companies, get themselves into financial trouble. So I think the unions have got to work a little bit more with the company here. I mean, and this makes me, so scared of Boeing. And they went, there's an offering coming too. So, okay, eventually the strike's going to get settled. It's going to pop up. And then they're going to hit you with an offering. It's coming, folks. I mean, they've already said it. They just haven't priced it out. Where's that offering going to go? Like, you could say, idea. Everybody's going to want to come and subscribe and buy Boeing shares at the market. They're not. They're going to want a big discount to the share price there. So then that brings the stock down further. So it probably pops back up because this is what they do. Boeing has buyers all over the place at 150. So it'll probably bounce back. Then they'll eventually settle the strike. It'll bounce up, but then they're going to hit it with an offering and bring it back down again. So, I mean, just the flow here, it's just the bad news just keeps coming for Boeing. It's unbelievable that the union rejected that. That's all I have to say.
AB.
Sorry.
Where are you, AB?
People are getting mad because I say I'm anti-union.
Compliments yesterday.
I thought you were going to give us the technicals on Boeing.
Oh, you did. Okay. I already did. I can tell. Did you go out last night?
No, I did not go out last night.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I was actually here at the office late last night. But all right, let's move on from Boeing. Let's talk some IBM. Another, you can put IBM and Boeing in a similar category of just stocks that, no, IBM's been crushing it recently. IBM is trading lower this morning, down 3.5% after the company reported earnings yesterday. The EPS came in at $2.30. The consensus was $2.23. Revenue came in at $14.97 billion, missed by $110 million there. So IBM taking a slight hit this morning, down about $8. Joel, are you still in this stock?
No, IBM?
Oh, I'm thinking of Intel. You were in Intel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Joel haven't been in IBM for a while there. We both stuck in Intel. Bag holder Intel. As much as my long-term portfolio is making new all-time highs, I tell you, Intel is not helping it whatsoever. Intel's been a disaster. IBM would have helped it. I had the rant yesterday because I had this damn stock at $130, and then I got spooked out and sold it at $140, and here it is, $232. We got to go with the Joel Elconin never sell thesis. So we need to be more like Joel Elconin because he holds.
Yeah, I got some bruises to prove that. Dennis, were you trading this one after hours?
IBM?
Yeah.
I thought about buying it when it got under 220. It was 219 offer, and I was like, they probably bounce this back. And I really thought about buying it, but I was busy. I was trading Tesla a little bit. Okay. There was a lot of action last night. There was quite a bit going on, actually. And I was like, IBM would have required a lot of babysitting, and I was even trading Tesla too, so that required babysitting. So I'm like, it was day trading Tesla.
A little lesson here. Okay.
Yeah.
For AB and Dennis better get the answer. So let's say we're at the Bright office, okay, and you're sitting in your little corner there, and we're trading IBM at earnings. Okay. Or, you're at your desk and you're trading,
Sure.
and I don't care anything about the earnings. What would I yell out after just immediately after seeing the price? What would I say to you?
You
What
would
would I
have
yell?
had, so Joel did this for us every morning. He is so good. He would give us this sheet and had the S&P futures with all the levels and all the stars. And he'd even give us the big stocks for the day and have all the levels and all the stars. He would have 10-starred that 216 level. He would have 10-starred that 216 level because it's got
The
the double bottom.
216 is harder to pick. There was something easier though, an easier trade than the
Easier one.
216.
I
Much
see the double
easier
bottom
trade.
216. Where was it?
No. See, Dennis, I'm a little disappointed. Okay, AB, your turn.
215.78 and 215.90.
No, you're AB.
You're talking
Okay,
about
this is your
a
chance
level.
for redemption.
A level.
This is a level, or what would I yell out?
230.
Yeah, right. AB. Look at that thing. Dennis, when that went through 230, I don't know where the next bid was.
There was no bids. You can't get that bar. That's the problem, Joel. On the earnings, it's just instantaneously down 15.
Really?
So if you'd have to be in it before, it's not like you're going to be able to come in and sell 230. The algos sweep out everything when they come in, and I could probably find the tape just to show you.
Okay.
And I could tweet it out if you want. When the algos come in, they see that stock is instantaneously down. So it's like here, and you think, oh, I'm just going to go like this. Like old school days, it's missed, and you could hit this bid, hit this bid, hit this bid, hit this bid. As a human trader, you could like be all over the price discovery process. Now you can't. It's like here, and now it's here. So now you can analyze from at this point in time, what do I do? And that's why I was shouting the 216 because
I like that.
There's a double bottom there.
Yeah.
And look where it bottomed, right around that area, 215 to 216, right around there. So I learned from your levels.
Okay,
I was just looking at different levels.
AB, you're out of the doghouse. Triple D, you're permanently in the doghouse.
I'm always.
All right, let's move on to Viking Therapeutics. Of course, we know Viking has exploded this year based on the weight loss drugs. The company did report earnings yesterday, but we do have some upcoming data in a couple weeks as well. So Viking Therapeutics GAAP EPS, a loss of 22 cents that beat the estimates by 3 cents. Let's see. We also had
they had earnings, which are meaningless. It's all about the commentary for the November 3rd release of the data that we're looking for. So we've got data coming on the evening. It's supposed to be coming on the evening of November the 3rd. Write that on your calendar. And this is going to be this obviously, on their weight loss, oral pill. Tolerancy was very good. Like the CEO or whoever it was, I'm not sure it was CEO, but the commentary from the conference call was the tolerability seems to be really good. Like they think this pill is going to be a game changer because right now everybody's got to get the shot, right? Like bang, you're hitting yourself all the time. Imagine just being able to pop a pill. It sounds pretty good. It sounds like it's going to, if they can get it, obviously to get FDA approval, and you're still a long ways away. We're phase 2, awaiting phase 3. So, I mean, we're still a long ways away here. And they're, obviously burning cash as they, try to get there. But they have pretty good cash hoard here, too. I firmly believe I'm long Viking Therapeutics. Full disclosure. I've been long it for a while. I've been trading it in and out, but I'm long it right now. I believe that I think somebody is going to come and buy it if the phase 3 trial results are good. I think they're going to be like, okay, we're through phase 3. This looks for real. You got Pfizer sitting there with nothing.
Oh, that's the next. That's
Merck
crazy.
sitting there with nothing. You got Bristol Myers sitting there with nothing. And you got Lilly just killing it. And it's like, how do we get in this game? Here's Viking Therapeutics trading. What's the market cap, AB? Can you go look that up, please?
The market cap for Viking Therapeutics is $6.7 billion.
Would you pay 10, 12 billion if you were one of those companies and you're hurting for growth and you're trying to get in this weight loss game? I would. And that's why I'm holding a core position of Viking Therapeutics. I continue to trade it all the time. It dips, I buy it, I flip it out and sell it when it rips again. But I'm holding a core position, similar to what I've been doing with Tesla. If you're bullish at stock, go ahead, AB.
I was just going to say, if the election is on November 5th and that's a Tuesday, what day? Let me look at my calendar real quick. So the data is going to come out on November 3rd, which is a Sunday. I'm seeing. Is that right?
It's at the, is there a conference? I've got the date from multiple places.
Is it like a
verify
JP Morgan healthcare conference or something?
I don't know if it's a conference or what it is, but it's supposed to be coming out on the evening of November the 3rd. Can anybody else verify that? Ryan Faluna says yes. Yes. So I believe it's November the 3rd on the evening.
Who was it that, or is it you, Dennis, that talks about owning IBB like over the weekend?
XBI, not IBB. So the trade, again, to clarify that, is I do it every single Friday. It's the Friday to Monday trade.
But that's for acquisitions, not data.
I don't think anybody talks about this trade except me. I've been doing it for 2 years. It doesn't work 100% of the time, but it works a lot of the time. What's that quote from Anchorman? 60% of the time, it works every time. It's something like that. But anyways, that's the XBI trade. So I'll give it to you again. It's not IBB because IBB is all the big ones. They're the ones that are doing the acquiring. The XBI is the small ones. So you never know what the hell, is going to happen. But typically, and this is a big strategy here. So listen up, folks, if you haven't heard me say this one before. Typically, small biotech stocks get bought on the Monday because they're working together over the weekend. They're getting the I's dotted, the T's crossed, and they get announced on the Monday morning. So why I do XBI on the Friday night trade is because you often get that, like if there's one of these companies and there's 150 stocks in the XBI, if one of them gets bought out, you often see like that 1% pop on the XBI. So, I mean, you're getting exposure for the potential of buyouts all the time. You don't usually see it on a Wednesday. You don't usually see it on a Thursday. So my trade has been, I've been long VKTX every weekend. I've been long XBI every weekend. I've been doing this trade, the VKTX one, for a long time. I'm long VKTX overall, but I buy more on the Friday night because, like, what if they announce it Monday? What if this is VKTX day? They don't announce it, I try to get out. They don't announce them. There's no big merger XBI, I get out. I get out on the Monday morning. Again, holding VKTX in the long position, not trading that one, but in and out of the VKTX weekend trade because I think eventually, I don't know anything. If I knew everything, I would be the richest man in the world. I think, eventually somebody's going to buy it. And the odds are it's probably going to be announced on a Monday morning. So I get more exposure and I don't have to take the risk through the week. And you often see it even pop up sometimes even in the after hours session where people are just getting excited. And maybe you could flip out, for a quick profit on that too. But that's the trade. I don't know anybody else that's ever talked about that trade before. I created it for myself just out of observation. And I know overall I make money with it. So if you want to try that trade, you can. Again, don't get married. And I hedge it. So XBI hedge with IWM because if markets get killed over the weekend, IWM and XBI are loosely correlated.
Jobless claims,
fairly correlated together.
Jobless claims, 830.
Go wide.
Go wide. Darwin, are you new to the show? I don't know if I've seen you before.
No, Darwin's not new.
Darwin's been in there.
So
no, I've never seen Darwin before.
Jobless
Darwin's been around for decades.
We're looking at 245,000 is the expectation. It was 241,000 previously. So that's what we're looking for here on jobless claims. Nothing else really coming in.
I think it's going to be a nothing muffin here.
I'll
see. Yeah.
Next Friday is going to be the big jobs day because we've got the U.S. employment report where the U.S. unemployment rate, hourly wages, non-farm payrolls, all that comes next Friday. So that's going to be more pressing than what we
quite on the economic data front till next Friday.
Nothing.
Let's see here.
We're
awaiting that print here.
Also, Tesla is on the high of its move. It's up to
244.
They're just slowly ramping that thing up. It looks like a nothing burger. We're up about 3 handles, Joel.
Yeah, right at the high.
Still doing an interview. They're not even covering it, so that's how much they care. They popped on the screen, but
boom. Yeah, you know what?
Jobless claims coming light. 227,000 versus 243,000, 242,000 previously. So jobless claims going down here. Labor market still strong. Fed doesn't need to cut rates. Come on now.
TLT lie detector test popping up a little bit. TLT's had a bad. When's the TLT turning?
I don't know.
Tazzoni's still in. Did he say?
Well, when we talked to him the other day, he said that he almost got stopped. He's only ordered a quarter of the position.
He's only got a quarter position left, so he's been bringing it in.
And he had a stop in, and they almost got him. So I don't know if he lowered his stop. But,
I think 90. I think I'm going to buy some
I don't
TLT
know.
at 90. It's got these long-term rates aren't going to continue to go up forever here. I mean, we're in a Fed. Canada's like thinking they're in a recession. They lowered 50 basis points yesterday. See, Bank of Canada going nuts. Bank of Canada, like they've lowered a quarter. Better start going halves. Real estate market's going south in Canada here. We better start going halves. So how is these long-term rates going to continue to go?
I don't
higher
know.
here?
I don't know.
I'm buying the TLT at some point in time here.
Oh, that's not
We're
investment
going to
advice.
Craig on a
Okay.
few seconds
Okay,
here too.
let
Craig,
me do.
see what he
Gosh,
thinks.
I want to do Okay, we're gonna go to Craig Johnson in a minute. Craig, give us a thumbs up. I know we're bringing you in a little bit early here.
He's ready.
About 10 minutes ago we started talking about VKTX, and I just want to I just want to give you a level here for you people that are trading it. We're not even at Tuesday's high here, so I would keep an eye on this. You better get to 65.04 and then get a 65 bid, and then there's some congestion there. So if I was long this thing just for a trade, not talking long term like Dennis, let's get up to 65.04. You haven't seen it yet in the pre-market. Okay.
It hasn't been the play to chase VKTX, and we know when the date's coming. So November 3rd, that's going to be the day. Let's get Craig.
Okay.
I'm on mute. I don't know how long I've been on mute for.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Did you guys hear me give the numbers?
No, actually, we didn't.
Oh my god,
we did.
I was on mute the whole time.
That's a total Joel maneuver. You're young. You have no excuses. Joel's like 90. There's lots of excuses for Joel here. All right, Craig's meeting.
Craig put the numbers in our private chat, and I was like, yeah, I just said those numbers, and then I'm realizing now why he put them in. So, the jobless claims were 242,000 or 227,000. The previous was 241.
I think I heard that.
Oh, okay. So I did say, okay, good. All right. Well, either way, Craig Johnson, managing director at Piper Sandler. We've got him hanging out backstage. Let's give him that special pre-market prep welcome and see what Craig's been watching.
All right, Craig Johnson, chief market technician, Piper Sandler. Craig, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys doing?
We're doing good. You can tell we're a little riled up today. So we need your calm, cool, and collected manner to come in here. Little dip yesterday. They bought it right back up. Let's just go to your super big macro picture, which we love to follow.
Well, the super big macro picture is this. Let me throw this up here on the screen.
Okay.
And let me present, share screen, and it should be monitor right here. All right. So here's the big picture for you guys. I think you can now see this.
Yep.
Perfect. So yesterday, despite the volatility we saw in the market, we've done something we haven't done very often, which is we now put two price targets out there for the market. We adjusted our 2024 number to 6,100. We were 5,800. And we also laid out a 2025 target of 6,600. So about 12% higher from where we were trading at just on Tuesday, Wednesday. So from our perspective, I think what a lot of people are missing and how they should be trading this, and I know you're talking more short term, but if you're talking about shorter term trading, you really want to put it into the context of the longer term trend of the market. And the longer term trend of the market is you are in the early part of the third year of a bull market off of those October 22 lows. And I think what investors and traders now have to do is sort of size up the opportunity from here. There's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of pessimism out there. But from all the work that we have done, I will just tell you that this bull market is only 507 trading days old. And the typical bull market has lasted, the median has been about 979 days. So again, if you put this into kind of a little spaghetti looking chart that looks like this, I mean, we are still relatively new in the big picture side of things. And I'll just tell you from a pessimism standpoint, I just keep hearing a lot of negativity, like, oh, this market can't work, and this with the economy, and this with jobs and everything else. I just remind everybody that the old Wall Street adage, bull markets climb a wall of worry. And they usually are born on pessimism and they die on euphoria. There's another historic quote for all of us.
Quote.
And at this point in time, there is no euphoria. I've asked every institutional investor that I know since publishing this piece. And again, nobody's like, yeah, we're not in euphoria. We're nowhere close to euphoria.
No.
And then you break down the technical indicators and our new highs indicators, our 40-week, they all still remain constructive. And then this gentleman that sits behind me, Mr. Ralph Akapour on the wall, instead of having, the elf on the shelf, we got Ralph on the wall here. But what he'll
Ralph
tell
on the shelf. The Ralph on the shelf.
you could have that. But what it ultimately comes down to, though, is the only way to change this pessimism is through new highs. That's the only way to change it. And that's from a veteran who's done this for a very, very long time. And when you come down and you look at right now what it looks like, this is sort of your cumulative record thinking about the number of new highs. And the new highs are going to lead to more new highs. And then, Joel, you're very focused on election. I know you are. And what I'll tell you is win or lose, depending on, Republicans, Democrats, or anything else, what the mix is, any of these things. Let's just boil it down to history. And history will tell you that since every election since basically 1928, your median return election day to year end has been 1.78%. Okay? 1.78% positive. And I'd also tell you that if it's a Republican win, you're typically higher 67% of the time with a median return of 3.95%. If it's a Democratic win, again, this is just math, you're higher 54% of the time with a median return of 0.57%. Take it one step further between the S&P, that's what I was calculating, and do the same math on the Russell 2000. 82% of the time you see the Russell 2000 outperform the S&P 500 in that window of time. So as traders are looking to set up their stuff coming into that election, I think you want to be leaning long, not short, okay? Because history says that in that window of time, markets typically go higher.
And we have, to that point, we have like the recency bias as well, because we've gone through the current administration, stocks have continued to go up, and during the last Trump administration, stocks continued to go up. So I have seen some people out there that are like, oh, if so-and-so wins, sell all your stocks, or if so-and-so wins, you got to buy all your stocks. And I'm like, well, it seems like either way, we've seen the market perform well under, we've seen both administrations now at this point, essentially. What about, you mentioned the IWM against the S&P, Craig. What about specific sectors heading into the election? Anything you're watching?
Well, specific sectors, it's going to definitely be, you were earlier talking about like the XBI and some of these, that could definitely do well under this particular trade. And if you wanted to go down to some of the S&P sectors, I think your best performance from our work is still coming from financials, technology, and also the industrials. And let me just share this with you too. This bull market that started in the October 22 timeframe, if you're to break this down, it has not been just the Mag 7. It has literally been industrials along with tech. And if you're looking for literally the best performing companies to play, look at this. I created a list, 50 best performing stocks off of those October 22 lows. And again, NVIDIA and Meta were the only two there. Look at some of these companies like Fair Ice, General Electric, Arista, Dell.
Nobody talking about some of these.
Nobody's talking about these, but look at this. You had Dell up 278% off the lows.
Yeah.
People aren't talking about this. I go to the worst performing name in the list, Caterpillar, up 124%, whereas the S&P has appreciated 62.6% with a median appreciation of 182.7. If you were to do this same analysis for the Russell 2000, the numbers are almost twice as good when you go down cap. So this is why I keep beating the drum of you don't have to just keep trading the NVIDIAs and these names. Coming down cap, buying some of these other names are giving you some better appreciation. And I think some better trading opportunities too. Look at ServiceNow, big company, but not a mega cap.
Yeah. And completely, ServiceNow isn't a bad stock to talk because we didn't cover the earnings. The earnings actually disappointed. The stock got hit, but it seems like some of these, stocks that have the AI story behind them dip, but then the dips quickly get bought. And I mean, Craig, this was down at like 885 last night, and now it's trading up at 927. So not only did the dip get bought, it's now ripped and it's trading up 20 points here. So I mean, some of these storied stocks, you got to be scooping them up on dips, maybe.
You do. And then let me just hit on a couple other things real quick too. Is everybody's going to be talking about Tesla, right? I mean, it's jumping in the pre-market, and as you look at this, in my viewpoint, like we're still stuck in sort of a consolidatory pattern for Tesla.
Yeah.
Like we really need to see a break north of 260. And again, if I'm trading it, I'm waiting for that sort of topside breakout because I don't mind trading it from 260 to 300. Which is probably the reality of what could happen if you get that sort of reversal. And this is what we just marked up and sent out to institutions today on this one. And then here's another name. We did get a fundamental upgrade on this today, but I will tell you that, again, I don't do the fundamentals, I just do the charts. But here's a stock that's been stuck in a sideways consolidation range for the better part of 4 years. You're toward the lower end of the channel. You got probably downside risk to 214, but upside to 260. I mean, Aaron, you'd be buying that all day long, right?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So again, setting up with some nice risk rewards. And then a couple other actionable ideas that I called out to people when we do our screens in the overnight. Looking at things here such as Crown Cork. I mean, look at the sort of breakout of this chart. Nobody's been thinking about this stock in a long time. Also, look at Con Edison on the utility side of the world. Interesting kind of breakout. Again, I'm not overweight the utilities, but I'll find these individual stocks. Globant was another one that's kind of making this messy bottom and improving on relative strength. Could be interesting back to the 250 level. And then also look at up in Canada, some of these banks. Look at the huge multi-year base.
Yeah.
This one. So again, break it down into a shorter term time frame for trading. And then also look at the sort of inflection point you're at for Norfolk Southern. And then what does this say about the economy if the rails are starting to, get on track, pun intended, right? And then I had two more.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, love it, Craig. You are just crushing it today.
This GXO was kind of an interesting name too. That's kind of been breaking out of this. Again, interesting on the logistics side. And then lastly, Costco. I mean, why not buy the pullbacks to the lower end of these upward trending price channels with still improving relative strength? Like, makes sense to me. Probably a good sort of, not maybe short term, but more of a short intermediate term trade for Costco. And if they do pull off what they're talking about, which is sort of cracking down in a Netflix style for their membership, that probably is going to be a pretty good driver for them too. There's
actually on the memberships, I was actually there, and they actually are scanning your memberships now at Costco, where it's used to hold up your card, you can walk in, hold up, put your thumb over the picture. Not really mean. You have to scan in now, yeah. So they're cracking down on it.
You got to do it on your phone now. I think they're going to get away from cards and do it on their phone. So you got to scan your phone on the way in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So many interesting points here, but I'll just throw. Do you know what our nickname for Ralph Acapora has been over the years?
Probably the Godfather.
Well, when the market goes down, he makes a bad call. We call him Ralph Make 'em Poor.
I understand. Some people are
throwing
that out, but that's okay.
Craig, okay. I gotta stop you here. Okay, I love your analysis, but what is the bond market trying to tell us? Huh? What's the TLT trying to tell us? I mean, everyone wants lower rates, and that half point that we didn't need. I mean, it's just bond traders are smarter than stock traders, right? What are the bonds? What's going on? What's going on with interest rates?
That's historically been the thesis, but let's just let's just take a look here at what the 10-year bond yield is telling us right now, right? So we just had that economic data print out. So this is what the bonds initially did for 10-year, right? Initially jumped up. From my trading vantage point, the first move is usually the wrong move as people are trying to reposition things, okay? If I come back and I look at the longer term perspective in here, I will just make the observation, you get a lot of overhead resistance around, call it 425, 430-ish range. And from my perspective, I don't think you're going to break through that. You're too overbought on an RSI down here, and it doesn't look like we're kind of extending that momentum. When we've gotten to these sort of RSI conditions here and here and here, we've usually ended up seeing some sort of at least shorter term pullback here. My viewpoint longer term is that 10-year bond yields need to trade lower. And if I come back and I look at the longer term perspective here, let me get to the right page.
Yeah.
Getting to the longer term perspective, I will tell you that I think as you get into 2025, I think you're going to see 10-year bond yields probably somewhere between 3 to 3.5 is where you're ultimately going to get to, because, and again, that's longer term. So put that in your shorter term trading perspective. We haven't even come back to retest support. As guys like Ralph will tell you, that you're not in an uptrend until you make a higher high and a higher low. We haven't even made a higher low yet. That higher low is probably going to be made somewhere in the 3% range. And the narrative of inflation, deflation is going to get batted around through the remainder of this year and certainly into 2025. That'll be the topic of conversation.
Yeah, so we were talking about this right before you came on, and this hit like this, TLT is down basically 10% in the last month, which is an incredible sell-off for an investment vehicle that's somewhat stable. And that means long-term rates are climbing. And I don't think anybody had this on their bingo card except one person, Jim Tassoni, was on our show. But I mean, you think like when the Fed is starting to lower rates here, that the TLT would start to track higher, and the exact opposite has happened. The Fed starts lowering rates and the TLT starts going lower and the long end starts going higher here. So would you be a buyer of the TLT maybe on this dip, because it's a nice dip we've had?
Yeah.
Saying rates are eventually going to go lower.
Eventually, correct. Yes, I would be. I mean, that has been my call to the institutional world, which has been that overhead resistance here is going to be very difficult to go through. And at the end of the day, you're still very much in a downtrend. And it's always interesting that when you get this narrative popping up from a lot of people that, oh, rates are going higher, the Fed's made a mistake, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's probably more often than not people trying to kind of throw their own narrative out there. But we all know, and listeners all know, if you come back and sort of ground this with the charts, you know that that's going to be a very difficult level to go through. And you should probably wait to see if that trend changes, because then there's real meaning. But right now, you would view this in the context of trading as a relief rally within the context of a longer-term downtrend.
All right, Craig, one curveball, or not really a curveball, China. What do you think of China?
Well, I mean, you had the stimulus. You had a big jump in China stocks initially. Let's see if this pulls up here. If I look at the iShares, and I still think that ultimately you've got to watch this come back down and probably retrace at least 50% of this sort of move from here to here. I think you got to retrace it. So that means to me that you could see the iShares probably pull back to the high 20s, into that sort of range, or maybe back to the 50-day moving average. I think you got to get a deeper pullback in here before you can really say, okay, I want to buy this. But let me tell you what, I'm not going to fight the Fed, and I'm not certainly going to fight the Chinese central bank either, right? Like, not a good idea. They got more money and they could just simply print it. And if they want to stimulate things and they announce more stimulus, you're going to get another shot higher. And you can maybe even use that thesis the same way you're doing, Dennis, with your XBI. I mean, what if they come out over the weekend and they talk about stimulus? You won't have a chance to get in on a Monday.
Yeah, so you could have a Friday night China trade maybe start putting on.
Correct.
Eventually, if they do, it's probably going to be through the weekend that they announce stimulus. So it's not a bad play.
Correct. So again, I would still say I'm not fighting the tape there. Okay, but wait for the pullback. You can play the I don't know if it pulls up on here, but you got the yin and the yang as other ways of playing it too, if I'm not mistaken. I believe these are leverage ETFs.
Is that the name of some pandas?
I think so. I'm just trying to remember what.
There's some leveraged ones there
Yeah,
too.
there's
Yang's the China bear 3 times. There is, I don't know if it's Ying. There's another one. Chad will know. They're all over this leverage stuff.
Yeah. But those would be the long. You got one long, you
Yin,
got one short.
Y-I-N-N. Yin is the 3 times China bull.
Yeah.
Y-I-N-N.
Yep. So that would be your levered total gas on way to play it if people wanted to.
All right, Craig Johnson, CFA, CMT, Chief Market Technician at Piper Sandler. Again, Craig, we can't thank you enough for coming on, providing us with excellent information, and we'll be dialing up. I think we'll probably have to get John before the end of the year. You're not taking all of December off again, are you?
No, I will not be taking the whole of the December off. I think I rarely take vacation, so it's usually tied together with client marketing is what it usually ends up being. So
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you, Craig.
Thanks, Craig.
Chat loves you, especially Pablo. I mean, this guy Pablo, I mean, he loves you. So we do too. Thanks for coming on.
thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, Craig. All right, guys, that was Craig Johnson, of course, over at Piper Sandler. Always great to get Craig on, see his views of the market. Let's get back to earnings real quick. We've got to hit the airline sector real quick. So let's go to Southwest first. Joel, I'm going to pop your chart. Oh, you did it for me. Pop your charts back up. Southwest reported this morning. EPS came in at 15 cents. That beat by 11 cents. Revenue of $6.87 billion, beat by 80 million there. So Southwest shares actually down 1% on this report.
Also reaching an agreement, probably the big headline here, with activist investor Elliott. So they may avoid that proxy battle there. LUV's been in consolidation station here for a long time, maybe waiting for the reports, maybe waiting for the Elliott, news here. Elliott is still there. I feel like it's constructive as long as it's above 30. You can see clear support here, Joel.
There you go.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
there's some levels that just jump
right.
out like a sore thumb, and I'm like, my thumb gets hurt even looking at that LUV level. 30 is huge.
If you're buying this stock up $2.60, you're doing it wrong.
LUV traded up $2.
$32.60, Dennis.
What time was that? Right on the report.
6:50 a.m. 6:55.
Man, yeah.
Wow. And if you also looked at, let's say you were early, let's say you went to 32.20 because that was the high of the move. Let's say, yeah, whatever. I'll just, 30, 40, 50, 60. Bad sell. Whoosh, right back down. And Dennis just gave you excellent support here. That's where the big boys, that's where Elliott's lining up. I don't know.
It's there right now. 30.12 just traded. So it's kind of at support right now. So this is your line in the sand. Can it hold? I mean, sometimes when support breaks, it's great trades too. I mean, support is support until it's broken. So never get married to support. Like if you buy this thing at $29.95, $30 off these lows, and all of a sudden starts trading 29.5 on you and it's holding down there, you could have a breakdown. So, technical support is support only until it holds. So just keep that in mind. But it's a big level. It's coming into a big level.
Yeah, gap fill at 29.65. If you're waiting a little bit longer.
All right, let's stick in the airline space. We did get some numbers from American Airlines as well. American Airlines reported non-GAAP EPS of 30 cents. That beat by 13 cents. Revenue of $13.65 billion, beat by 80 million there. So double beat there for American Airlines. Raised its full year 2024 EPS guidance, and yet the stock is down as well. So some turbulence overall in the airline industry. American Airlines similarly was trading higher initially, and then then there was a sell-off down to I'm seeing around 1236, Joel, and then we pop back up from there. So either way, I mean, these airline companies, like, they give good numbers, stock is down. I don't really know what you want to do with them.
There was a pop, and if you were waiting on this gap fill, this was probably from last earnings report, you were rewarded here because you had a low at 1342. And you got just above that. You got to 1358. So there was a good level. Coming back on the downside, man. There's a buyer. There's a consistent buyer here in the lower $12 handle. We'll see if we get back down to this area. 2-day low, a little bit quicker than that. If they're really going to buy this thing up, it's going to hold right in here at like 1270. That's actually like the lows over the last 4 sessions. So let's see if American Airlines get off the mat. I just want to check UAL, man. That thing was soaring and then had the consolidation. It didn't even break down yesterday. So there's
What
a
a comeback this stock, eh? From
yeah.
40, like no airline stock's been this good. 40 to 73. I mean, this is just an enormous move from August. Like it's consolidating here, but wow, like why so much better? Like as you look at AAL, yeah, we've bounced off the lows. You look at LUV, yeah, we've bounced off the lows. You look at DAL, yeah, we're up from the lows, but nothing. Like Dell went from 40 to 54. UAL went from 40 to 73. What they're doing right over there? Something.
All right, now we're going to go out of the airline space real quick. Let's go into the chip sector. You had LRCX, Lam Research, which, of course, did a split recently, reported earnings after the close yesterday. EPS of 86 cents. That beat the 80-cent estimate. Sales at $4.17 billion, beat the $405 billion estimate there on LRCX. So the stock is trading higher, about 5% this morning. Across the board, you go to any of the chips, NVIDIA's up 1%, AMD's up slightly, SMCI is up. So LRCX helping out the chip industry this morning.
Down significantly from the highs, $110 back in July. Quietly down at 72, but we got huge support down here, 70 to 72. 76 gets the pop up here. I mean, there's room. This is kind of in the middle of nowhere, so it's going to be hard to do the technical on this. Overall, though, like it seems like it's been the play to buy the dips on chips. Like it's just, dips and chips just go together. So it's hard to like bet against it down here and say, oh yeah, I'm just going to short this pop because it's going to right back down. I think eventually, like you just look at all of these chip stories, and eventually, unless it's Intel, a lot of these things seem to turn it around. So I think eventually LRCX turns it around here too. But NVIDIA's in a world of its own, making new highs. A lot of the other chips have not, made new highs here. So it's interesting that there's, a separation happening. Even Applied Materials, I mean, $250 down to 182. It moves with LRCX very well. Micron, is off from the highs. It's tried to bounce back a couple of times here. There's definitely a dip on chips.
I like a level here, LRCX for you. Just your short term. First of all, monthly support, boy. The big boys are stepping up here. 71.50, 72. Not one, not two. 3 monthly lows in that area. So that's super extra major support. We'll see where they are trying to establish the next bid now, because it doesn't look like you're going to be getting down there anytime soon unless the market falls apart. My focus number on the upside here for LRCX is this 77.50 area. That's my area of interest. That was your high. I don't know what happened this day. Why did it go from? What happened on this day? What happened on October 15th? This thing went from 85.70. What was that? Did the world fall
What are you
apart?
talking about? Which day on
October
LRCX?
15th.
Yeah, right here, this bar. What the hell happened here, Dennis?
Yeah, I don't know.
Shares are that's ASML.
Oh, that's ASML day. Yeah, good call.
Oh.
That's ASML day.
Oh, yeah. Woo! Look at that. That thing hasn't even recovered. But anyways, the high on that day was 77.50, and you flirted with it in the pre-market. You're a buck above it. So keep an eye. See what happens if you get back. The longer it takes to get back to that high, clear 77.50, take out the new pre-market high at 78.88. You might get a little bit of a fade here. LRCX.
All right, we got through basically everything we needed to. The only other thing on my list was to just, recap the McDonald's price action yesterday. We spent a lot of time on McDonald's yesterday, but now we're at an important technical level. Joel, $300. I mean, if you're buying the stock here, you're basically just betting and hoping that there are no more cases, no more serious illnesses from this E. coli outbreak. And then it probably, in the long run, look like you were pretty smart for buying the dip. But if we get more cases, then things could get dicey again. But either way, people did buy that dip up on McDonald's yesterday. You can see it got as low as, what did we get to, Joel? 280, 285?
Well, in that, they way overdid it here. I mean,
that's what I was saying. I was saying that it doesn't. It's McDonald's. The brand's already established. Like, what's a What's a little bit of, I don't
What's a
feel
little
good.
bit of E. coli?
I don't
What's
feel
a
good
little
after
bit of E.
I don't
coli?
feel good after I eat McDonald's anyway. So what's a little bit of E. coli? Come on.
Because you eat so much at McDonald's. You were like, remember that McDonald's meal that he had eaten? It's like, you know, like
No, I probably average about like
$25 McDonald's food he eats.
Yeah.
It's impressive.
Interesting. Got nowhere near the pre-market low. So you got the dip. The old open strategy. If you would have just like forgot the pre-market and everything, and you didn't buy the open at 92.77, boom! When you came back up through that 92.77, it wasn't that world's easiest trade, but it still kind of worked out. And what was I going to say? Oh, yesterday's high. 299.70 is currently where it's trading. 301.60. I mean, that's an important level because if you can get that, then you start to get in that gap area. So very important to get above 301.60. And if it goes red today for some particular reason, they'll be they're gonna, I missed it at 285. Oh, I missed it at 290. I think you'll get a little bit of back and fill. You're not going to get that whoosh that you had when the news was announced.
We did miss something, or I missed something. UPS. Come on.
Yeah, and the stock's been a dog. I've been bearish the stock for a while here. It's a big pop back, a big snap back. I have no position on it here, but I've been talking bearish on it. So wrong on this one because the stock's obviously the company's doing a little bit better than I thought. Big pop again. Maybe expectations in the gutter here. Give us those numbers quick, AB.
Yeah, so UPS reported, we got those numbers this morning. EPS came in at $1.76. That beat the $1.63 estimate. Sales came in at $22.2 billion, beat the $22.1 billion. Stock is up over 10% this morning. The company also updated its guidance, so sending FedEx shares higher as well. What can Brown do for you? Well, today, it's helping out your portfolio a little bit.
It's always interesting when they gap down, Joel, on the earnings report, and then they gap the entire thing back on the next earnings report. So you got a gap into a gap. So give us those levels.
Yeah, you pulled that up. Just FDX, a little sympathy trade there. And also this got downgraded last week. I don't know who did it or price reduction. So that was this red bar here. You're filling a gap. So if you bought this thing and it's only there, you go, you know what? Someday it's going to fill the gap. Well, you're getting that and then some today because the gap fill is actually at 143.69. So you're $1.30 above that. But if you're looking for more, if that's not good enough for you, 146. Wow. 146 was a former double top from July. Don't know where to buy this thing.
All right, Tesla on the high of the move as we wrap up the show today. Thank you, Joel. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Craig Johnson over there at Piper Sandler. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Joel, who do we have coming on with us?
Really good. Like you got to rest up your ears tonight for this guest. And he's super good on the market. Maybe as bullish as Craig Johnson. I'm giving you some hints.
Let's see. Tom Lee.
No,
Tom Lee will not come on the show. Tom Lee is one of the only people that have me blocked on Twitter. Tom Lee doesn't like me.
Okay, guess again.
Okay, super bullish. I assume
Great prep.
Dietrich, Ryan Dietrich.
Yep. There you go.
Ryan Dietrich is awesome. The stat man. No.
All right,
stat man. We need to make an intro for him with stat man. You know,
can you
like
do
we
that
get the
today,
signal
Ed?
out. Can we do that? Get the team on that. I want to hear stat man. Stat man.
Our probably,
do it. We got to do it.
All right, now you
comes on.
Now you guys are asking too much. How about this, Dennis?
No, you guys can do this. I know the team.
If Tesla,
somebody's on that.
If Tesla
hits, have an intern in the background to do that. Let's find one.
If Tesla hits 275 today, we'll do that. Okay.
Okay. 275. I'm holding you to it.
All right, there we go. All right, guys, thank you to everyone who tuned into the show today. Please smash the like if you have not already. We will have live trading with Ryan Faluna and crew starting up right after this. Make sure to stay tuned for that. We will see you guys tomorrow morning. You don't want to miss it. Ryan Dietrich, one of our best guests coming on with us. With that, enjoy the rest of your day. Stay green.